Okay, and we are rolling again here with our live coverage of the Schwab Impact Conference in San Francisco. And we have with us right now Tanya Tygesen, who's the head of CRM at SS&C. I got that all right.
You did.
And we go back actually quite a bit now. We've done a podcast together, and I absolutely love the content that we deliver. Yeah. And so if we have Tanya here, we're definitely talking about CRMs. And I think most advisors and RIAs would agree that the CRM tends to be the hub of your practice.
That's right.
So what are you hearing here at the conference? Like what's new in the CRM world, or if not new, like what's really being focused on these days?
Well, I think whenever you're at a custodian conference like Schwab Impact, which is a fantastic conference, is really about integration and how can my CRM integrate with other tools that I use every day, like my advisor center or portfolio systems, financial planning systems. So I think the focus is always going to be on integrated CRM, because a CRM cannot be a standalone solution anymore. In the early days, it was one product, and now the bigger expectation is off-the-shelf integration as well, where I don't have to constantly go to market to try to build it. Now, there are a wide variety of solutions that are already sort of pre-integrated, but I would also say that there are solutions that are coming out all the time that just don't have that integration just yet, but we live in a world that, everything is possible. So sometimes it's off the shelf, sometimes the expectation is you need to work with a really good partner to help you integrate.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think integrations is always one of the most important things for any financial planning firm or RIA. And I said financial planning because we happen to focus on financial planning. Mm-hmm. And to have our advisors live in our CRM, and we happen to use yours, Salentica, we're happy with it. What we're trying to do is get them to live there even more. Right. So we're working really hard with you guys actually right now to develop more integrations with the goal of having our advisors live in our CRM. They should be able to execute their trades from the CRM, look at their financial planning information in their CRM. Are you seeing that as more of a trend these days too, trying to get advisors to live in just one spot as opposed to going from that to that other tool?
Yes, absolutely. And it's not just advisors, Chuck, we talked about this before too, is everybody in your organization can live in the CRM, right? Your compliance team can live there, your legal team can be checking on things, your operations people can be living in there looking for clients that are going to be onboarded, because the sales and business development people are marking an opportunity as one. They're waiting for the workflow to tell them you're ready, you're next in line for something. So not just advisors, it's been like this for years, but I think more and more people understanding that CRM is actually a platform for your organization, and everybody will just use it a little bit differently according to what their needs are. And the big thing there is they all can take part in that workflow, or that flow of work that has to happen to keep the team efficient. So that's a big trend for sure.
That's a huge point, right? And I say advisors just almost as a generic, but you're absolutely right. So operations people should live there as well. The compliance people should live there as well.
Absolutely.
And so one thing we're working on actually with your team are some workflows. So let's talk about workflows. Let me explain our pain point, and I'll tell you how you guys are kind of helping us with it. So when a client needs money, it really is a multi-step process.
Yep.
So the trader needs to get cash raised in that portfolio. Then the client service associate needs to send that money out. So what we were doing, which is horrible, right? We would send an email to the trader, make a reminder when that trade is done, send another email to the client support person. Just ugly, right? So for the few people out there that don't really understand workflows too well yet, what exactly is a workflow and how is that going to help my situation?
Sure. Well, it always starts with documenting your process and making sure there's an alignment in your team and your organization of what the actual process is, because some of the other nuances in there is you're going to check to see if there's standing authorization with the client for a money movement, or you're going to get authorization on request from the client, and how are you going to triage that? How are you going to prove that you got the authorization? So it's little things like that to make sure as a team that you agree on the processing, and then workflow should help you automate it. And that's where the true efficiency comes in, and the true, I can set it runs, and I can move on to the next thing. So workflow should really help you with that oversight, that monitoring, the notifications across the teams, where you're relying less on email. I will say, people still love email, and there's nothing wrong with email, but it's not necessary, because the tools have nice built-in screens for alerts, or maybe it's a text message through Teams or something like that. So there's different ways to communicate to upstream and downstream teams. Workflow should also have a set of eyeballs to approve something, to say, let's say it's a money movement greater than 50,000. Do you want to make sure that you're getting checked to approve it in your process? So again, it's really aligning on the procedure, then using a really good tool like a CRM that should have great workflow tools embedded into it to be able to automate it, and then using the CRM as your home base for I just actually built this dashboard for a client, actually, so I'll talk to you about it.
Yeah.
Is show me all the workflow-related tasks alongside my tasks that I might just create myself as reminders to do X, Y, Z. And
the light just got bright for a second.
Yeah.
Woo, okay.
And then show me all my delegated tasks. Show me all my tasks for key clients, like say CalPERS. We're tracking, something for document signing for CalPERS.
Yep.
So you want to see all these filtered views where you see what you need to see in the process and not get blindsided or overwhelmed by all the noise that could happen as well in the background. So the dashboard should really let you see that flow of business. And then from a management perspective or leadership perspective, you should be looking at your KPIs to say, this process for money movement, we did 1,700 in 2024. We processed them on average in X number of days. This is the client that asked for the most. So now we can compare and say, we provided service to this client. Here's our revenue from that client. Here's the time spent. This is all tracked in a CRM. So the value of your data coming out of just putting your workflow in the CRM, you see your business in a new light. And everybody, back to that point of everybody can use the CRM. This is why everybody should use the CRM, because you want to be able to see how your firm is operating and then compare it, right?
Absolutely. I was smiling when you were talking about this because I joke about this all the time. I've never had a real job in my entire life. And that's a fact, okay. Right? I'm 56 years old. I've yet to have a real job. And what I mean by that is my entire life as an adult, I either worked for a small company, reporting to the owner of that small company, or I was the owner of a small company, as I am right now with Sovereign. And no one had more disdain for corporate methodology than yours truly, right? The meetings, the circle backs, all that MBA talk, I would always make fun of that in KPIs.
Right.
But now, we're approaching $1 billion. We have, almost 20 advisors. Mm-hmm. We're now implementing KPIs.
Yeah.
And I take back all the bad things I said about KPIs because when you have a very small company, you see your 2 employees and you know what's happening. Right. But as you grow, if you don't have documented KPIs, you cannot answer the question, how are we doing?
Yeah.
And not only so much to see how we're doing, but also let your employees know, are you doing a good job? Here, let's go to the dashboard. Yeah. We'll see. Yeah. Are you seeing a lot of that?
Or, Bob in service is out this week. Someone needs to pick up the reins and understand the process. So if it's in your CRM, everybody sees the process. So 100%. And I think firms like Sovereign, who actually put time and attention from their leadership to plan just how to make sure processes are aligned and then to actually take advantage of the cost to run a CRM, I think it's an important way to see that, an MBA term, ROI, on your investment. But it really is. It should be reviewed and it should be giving you something back. And but yeah, 100%. Like the firms that really excel are doing all of this already. And if they don't know how to start, then work with a good partner that actually can at least put you on the right path and help support just getting started, because sometimes that's the hardest conversation to have, right?
Absolutely. Well, I think that's a good place to put a pin in it for today. So, Tanya, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Chuck, and thanks so much for your support. You've been awesome. So
thank you bet. Well,
much.
It's something worth supporting.
Okay.
Wonderful. Well, so that's it for this particular segment, but we're still covering all day today, so stay tuned, and we'll have more goRIA fueled by Investment News in about another hour and a half. Thanks for joining us. Thanks again.